welcome to Lay It Out, the No Bullshit Science podcast.
With extra bullshit.
I'm Kiri.
And I'm Alice.
And she's Demelza.
That went well for the second time.
It does. No, because it didn't go well the first time.
Okay, so that went well for the first time.
Yeah. Yay. I have a very sad announcement. This may be our last episode. Because it's been so fucking hot.
Oh gosh.
That I'm just not convinced I'm going to make it through the end of the week.
Kurt, you really scared me for a minute there. I was like, hang on a second.
I know, everyone in the room was like, taken aback.
I was like, is she moving? What's going on?
I mean, I think I would find a better time to announce that to you guys than now.
Well, when I asked you what your announcement was before we started, you told me you were pregnant. So, I mean, I never thought anything serious was going to come of it, but that was just a bit too shocking for my liking.
I'm sorry.
It's alright, it's fine. My heart's nearly returned to normal rhythm.
Okay. Well, you've had an exciting weekend.
Yeah, it was fun. It was also hot, but it was nice.
You said it wasn't as hot as here though, because it was absolutely ridiculous over here.
Yeah, no, it actually wasn't. On Sunday it probably was. Sorry, also I was in Paris, just to give context to what I'm talking about right now. So Sunday was probably as hot, but Saturday no. Like it was the first time I'd felt that temperature that I felt on Saturday for quite a while.
And what were you doing in Paris?
I was going to a festival with my friends from Ireland, which was very nice. We went to see... Okay,
which festival? Bloody hell, it's like spilling tea!
I'm sorry, my brain's not working that well, the heat, so I can't. Anyway, we went to Lollapalooza.
All these people that listen from like Morocco and, I don't know, like the southern states of America are going to be like, shut the fuck up.
I know, but we talked about this on the way here and they've got air conditioning.
That's true.
And we do not.
We do not. Big
difference.
It's tough.
As you said, it's going to be 34
I
degrees.
haven't felt dry in about 4 days. I've been permanently damp.
That's not the first time that she has said that either.
Anyway, sorry. You were at Lollapalooza?
Yes.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it was great.
I didn't know that they had, that the Chicago Lollapalooza also had a France Lollapalooza.
Indeed. I was on a race course that had Longchamp in the name. I can't remember what the rest of it was called.
Very fancy.
Yeah. And I think there was actually a few Lollapaloozas around the place. Because I did an Instagram, and when I looked up the Lollapalooza location filter tag thing, a few of them came up.
Our guests who are music pros are nodding.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Did I see one in like Egypt or somewhere? Okay. Don't know. Okay, cool. So yeah, it was really good. We just did it one day. It was on Saturday and Sunday, but we just went on Sunday. And just drank wine in a park on Saturday. On Sunday, yeah, we went and saw Dua Lipa, and she was really good. And this was really funny because then afterwards we were having a conversation, and we were like, oh yeah, because like I like her music, but I was kind of like, oh yeah, you're grand. But then, do you know when you see someone in concert and you're like, or like live, you're like, whoa, like they're so good. And she just seemed like somebody that'd be really fun to be your friend. And then I was like, also, all her music, all her songs, and like all the words to all her songs are very well timed in today's cultural climate, is what I decided.
Okay.
They are, because she's real like, men are shit, basically. And like, girls kick ass. And say la vie.
We don't want to be these sorts of feminists, Alice.
No, but like, what do you mean?
Because we don't want to be the sorts of feminists that are like, men are shit, women are the best. We want to be like, we're all equal.
Yeah, I know. Okay, fine. Okay, maybe I didn't think that one through too far. Anyway.
She was fun. She's very woman empowerment.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Yeah.
And all the dancers and everything on stage were great. She was fun. And we also saw the Killers, who were unreal. And we were the only people having any fun though. All the other people around us.
It's because French people are too cool.
Yeah.
No.
They stood there like literally just nodding their heads, and they were all wearing earplugs.
Wait.
So many people were wearing earplugs to drown out the noise.
That's quite normal.
Not in Ireland.
Okay. I don't want to speak on your podcast in your intro bit, but it's very important that you wear earplugs at shows.
I've never seen that before.
And wait, hang on. Also, sorry, can I just do a take back? I don't mean all French people. I mean Parisians.
Okay, so anyway, yeah, they all just kind of stood there like, you know, nodding their heads in time, and then by the time the Killers came on, we were all like, you know, we'd had a few, and we were always like jumping around the place and just like, you know, being idiots, and people started moving away from us.
You were probably just being really horribly Irish and rowdy.
No, but we weren't. That's the thing. I was like, we weren't being as obnoxious as we could have been.
Your sober voice is pretty loud and rowdy.
But I'm loud, but like, I'm not a hooligan.
To the Parisians, you are.
Okay, maybe. Fair.
I had a
Yeah.
cool weekend too. Kind of, ish. I went to... No, it was very cool. We had a public engagement stall at the Lambeth Country Show. If anyone was there, then we had an Upgrade Your Brain workshop. And
How'd that go? How many brains did you upgrade?
quite a lot. A lot.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and we did this test, this memory test, right? Which kind of tests how good you are at finding the similar things. You know what this test is.
Uh-huh.
It's called the mnemonic similarity test, and it tests... Yeah, one of the things it measures is how good you are at finding the similar things, and it's very age dependent. So then we were keeping this leaderboard of the top 3, we called them memory champions, and our top 3 scorers were between the ages of 11 and 14. Yeah, they were unreal. They were scores that I've worked with this test for over 2 years now, and the scores were, I've never seen scores like that.
Is that because kids play so many computer games?
So one of the theories that Demelza read about was that it's because with kids, because they're still learning, they need to be able to tell the difference between similar things because they're experiencing new things all the time. And to tell the difference between things and to be able to learn this is this and this is this. Whereas for adults, it's not as necessary because we've already learnt it.
Oh,
Yeah, so that's one of the theories.
that's cool.
Yeah. Should we bring our guests on then?
Oh, yeah.
We have our first repeaters, right?
Yeah.
These are the first guests we've had back, and they were on our episode 1, which is also our most listened to podcast, and some of our favourite guests of all time.
Wait, hang on. Can I talk about one more thing before we go on?
Okay, they were so excited.
I know. But I forgot to say that my Eurostar got delayed and it was awful.
Oh yeah, you were messaging me like really having a breakdown.
Yeah, it was awful. I was delayed for 3 hours and 45 minutes. It was awful. And we were on the train for that entire time. Yeah, I'm getting a refund. Okay, I'm done. That's the end of my happy news.
Okay. We have Natalie and Dan.
Yeah.
Hi! Yes, I can talk.
The boys
It's
are back
great.
in town.
I'm so happy to be back. So,
Welcome back. We're glad to have you back.
I thought you
wow.
at Eurostar were really good at doing refunds and stuff like that. Like
Yeah.
if you get delayed, like there was one where someone, and I can't remember who it was, but they were doing a Eurostar connection somewhere in like France or somewhere. And they held the second train for them from the delayed train, like
Shit.
not for very long, like for 10-15 minutes, or something, so that they could make the connection.
Oh.
That's unreal. Yeah, I mean, at one point it looked as though none of us were getting refunds, and everyone was kind of like, and then like we're getting refunds. And then at the end they came on and were like, you can all get refunds, you have to wait 2 days and then you go on and like report the disruption and blah blah blah. But yeah, but it was also quite hilarious because we got about a half an hour outside of Paris on the original train and it kept breaking down, so then we sat in that train for about 3 hours, and then that train had to try and make it back to Paris but kept breaking down on the way, and every time it broke down they had to restart the whole thing, so the air conditioning would go off. Electricity would
They
go off.
literally did the. Have you tried turning it off and on again?
Like about 10 times. And then we finally got back to Paris and they put us on a new train, but there was no food on the new train or a drink, or well, then they brought out the emergency food, which was mini Twixes and cups of water.
I was saying to her, this was definitely one of the crew's snacks that they brought on for work. And the supervisor was like, guys, we need to get
you
these
don't
guys
have to
food.
sacrifice all you got, guys.
And what's the character again? Oh, Jean-Paul. I was like, Jean-Paul, give up your fucking Twixes for our customers.
No.
Yeah, so
Oh, wow.
Zut
yeah.
alors.
Sacre bleu.
But yeah, I live to tell the tale anyway.
Yeah,
I'm really proud
it
of
must have
you.
been so hard for you.
It was really,
Honestly.
it was just such a dark, terrible time.
Almost like us struggling in silence when you just told us it was your last podcast ever. I started constructing a narrative in my head. I was like, that's why they've got us on. It's like bookending the whole thing.
full
Oh my god, it
circle.
makes so much sense. They've got to get genuine reactions, but I can't shout right now. Yeah, I was
Yeah.
going a bit crazy in my head when you said that, but I'm glad it's not.
It was good.
the
It
end.
was good suspense and
Yeah.
stuff.
It's brilliant.
I quite enjoyed the dramatic
Absolutely
effect.
destroyed us all, I think.
Yeah.
It was good.
Do you guys want to give like a 1-sentence summary of who you are for people that haven't listened to the first episode?
Yeah. do you want
It's a
us to
strong
do
response.
who we are? Hi, this
Personally
is
or
us.
professionally?
Like So before we did who we are, what we do, science.
Yeah, thoughts about science.
You want all of that in one sentence?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you want to go first?
Uh,
I can go first.
you go first.
I'm Natalie.
It's almost like you planned this. You have something ready.
I do music as a job, not play music, work in the music. Should I start again?
If you want.
You can cut this.
Okay.
Oh, so you legit know about the earphones?
The music.
More like Dan would know more.
I was also
better.
going to say, actually, yeah,
But, like, it
complete
is
aside, earplugs are very important
Yeah.
when you go to lots of gigs.
And I don't
because
wear them, but I
otherwise
should.
you'll suffer early hearing loss. And
You'll
that would be
get
bad for
tinnitus.
everyone.
Yeah.
As someone who played in a band for many years and has constant
Does it
ringing
not
ears.
distort the music though?
No, just like
dims it.
Yeah, just dulls it.
You
Like,
can
what's
get
the
better
word?
quality earplugs
Yeah.
as well. So you can get like molds that are specifically for you. They're more expensive, obviously, but they make it quieter without making the sound all
I
muffled
see.
and rubbish.
Yeah, muffled is the word. I want.
Whereas disposables are obviously a lot more cheap,
Yeah.
and they do make it sound a bit crap. But
But you can still get the general gist.
Okay.
I'm Natalie. Sorry. I'm Natalie. I work in music. I do a football podcast with Dan. He's just here. And science. I didn't particularly like science at school, but I was good at it. And that is my recap.
Nice.
a reluctant hero. in
Yeah.
the
Should I put that in my
science.
Twitter bio?
Yeah,
Reluctant hero.
science hero. I'm Dan. As mentioned, I do a fantasy football podcast with Natalie. And for work, I run a YouTube channel, a karaoke YouTube channel, which is, all good fun, I guess, if you like karaoke especially. My feelings on science. I really like science. I like science a lot more than I used to when I was a kid, when it was a lesson that I didn't really want to do. Particularly I'm quite into space. Been getting, and what is out there, guys? What is out there? Are there
Nothing.
aliens?
No.
There must be all kinds
There's
of crazy
definitely
stuff out
aliens.
There
there.
aren't aliens.
There's definitely aliens.
Of course there aren't.
And when you get into all that crazy quantum physics stuff where it's like, oh, there are alternate realities and there's another version of me somewhere out there.
I genuinely believe that,
Oh, yeah, no, I totally believe
I
that.
genuinely believe that there's like another planet Earth out there with someone doing the exact same thing
Yeah.
as what we're
Like the
doing.
upside down.
Yeah, but the right way up.
But not as bad. No, and not upside down.
I haven't seen
So
far
not
enough to know what the upside down actually is.
Oh, you'll get there.
It's just,
Will I? Because it's been a very long time and I still haven't bothered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think you're missing out with Stranger Things. I didn't love it.
Are you serious?
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't
serious.
like if
I thought
I
it was
thought I
fine.
was missing out. Like
I
Game of
fucking-
Thrones, if I thought I was missing out, I'd watch it, but
Yeah.
I don't think I'm missing out.
Oh no, you would hate Game of Thrones.
I know I would. My
Yeah.
mum the other day was like, "Oh, do you not watch Game of Thrones?" I was like,
You
go
don't
away,
know me,
Mum."
Mum. You know nothing about me.
"Weird."
Yeah, you would hate Game of Thrones.
I'm just
I
interested
think
in
you'd
the
find it
dragons.
boring.
Yeah, I think. Well, I watched. 20
Okay,
minutes of
guys,
it,
I need to
so-
tell you about this. Your dragon thing reminded me. I need to tell you about this conversation I had with my brother last night. So, okay, my brother, I want to put it out there, he's 38 years old. And he also always asks...
Is this a dating thing?
No, because
He has a lady.
Oh, okay.
a woman.
And whenever we watch movies, he likes to sort of take the piss and ask me really stupid questions. But then he said something yesterday which I really don't think he thought through, and I think he was being serious. So he was like, if you had to ride any animal, what would you ride, right? And I said, a dragon, because clearly that would be the best.
You'd be like Donkey in Shrek.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. And then my brother was like, I'd ride a giraffe so I could see over everything.
Where is he sitting?
Exactly! I was like, wait, hang on. If you're riding a giraffe, you are not sitting on its neck by its head. You are on the
This
body.
is a special giraffe.
You're
This is
on
a
the
mechanical giraffe.
No, you are on the
It's got a
body
strong
and
neck.
you can't see any further than anyone. And I was like, also, I'm on a dragon. I'm literally above everything and I can see everything.
You could pick any animal that flies.
And he
that's
was like-
would fit him.
That really was not a well thought through answer.
No. And usually my brother's a really smart guy, but this one I was like, no,
It's
you
like brain fart.
you don't ride a giraffe on its neck. You're just going to be there hanging
does.
off it by its little
He's killed
ears.
so many giraffes in pursuit of his dream.
And then can you imagine if two of them get in a fight and you're hanging on to
Oh yeah, because
DLI?
they fight with their necks,
Yeah.
don't they? Does he listen to this?
No.
So that was a good bit of science. I
Should we
enjoyed
get
that.
into some real
Very
science?
scientific science.
Should we get into some real science then?
All right, baby.
So, based on the fact that these are our first returnees, we gave them the privilege of making requests. And you requested?
Did we make requests?
Well, I made requests.
Okay, sorry. Scratch that. Dan was not given the privilege of
I was
requests.
left out of the discussion.
Dan,
Yeah. I just thought it'd be too complex if I involved them.
Okay, so Natalie said they like football, music, and video games. And Natalie also made a request for MS.
That's true.
But first we will go to Alice.
And as a nutritionist, I'm so tired of
Did your
literally
French
feel
accent?
drunk.
That was not French.
I had literally
I
one
think
sip
we
of
should-
that, like one sip.
Are you even allowed to be drinking that for your study?
Natalie,
So
Surely you
many
can drink rum
rules.
and coke.
there's lime in there, and there's probably polyphenols in the Coke.
Lime flavours.
But think about how dark the Coke is. There's definitely polyphenols in it.
I doubt there's polyphenols in coke.
Look it up there, Tamelsa.
Okay.
So anyway, as a nutritionist, music, football, and what was the other one?
Video games.
Video games, right up my street.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Naturally.
love it. So, dearest Curie here did some research for me and found a paper that actually was slightly on topic of what you asked for. You can decide yourself. But so I'll read out the title of it, and then you can launch in with your best questions. So the title of this paper is "Background music genre can modulate flavor, pleasantness, and overall impression of food stimuli."
It can do what?
I love how amazed and delighted that you look by that.
Ding ding ding. Silent Demel's a fact.
Do you like it when she does that? Because sometimes I feel it comes across like just quite a full on.
Okay, should I be like,
bit aggressive.
oh, should I be a bit more like, do 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 do?
Oh, that's quite
That
nice.
sounds quite like elevator music.
Do 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 ding. Silent Demel's a fact. Coke does not have polyphenols in it. You can drink the rum and coke.
Go ham.
Delicious.
Yeah.
Right. It's time. So you mind repeating that title again? That was.
You want the whole
That
thing
sounded-
again?
yeah.
Why
The
don't
whole
we just
thing.
ask
Say it
Alice
really
what it
fast.
actually just means?
I don't.
Don't
Just
ask
do it.
us.
Just do it.
Background music genre can modulate flavor, pleasantness, and overall impression of food stimuli.
Okay.
That's
Modulate flavour, pleasantness.
Yeah.
Why
no,
is
I,
modulate in there?
no, I
That's
just.
a weird word.
Alice's
Is
accent.
it?
It's one of these words
Right.
scientists used to like to use, like modulate, influence.
So modulate is like
Listen
change
to the ones.
Yeah,
in
change.
this context.
That's really interesting. Please tell us more about this study.
So,
Do you know? See, I told you because
Yeah.
as Alice is reading this, she was saying how boring this paper is, and I was saying no, this is boring to us as scientists, but for our podcast, this is perfect.
This is for us.
I'm
I thought
interested.
Natalie was being sarcastic, but actually, it seems
no, look
that
at her.
wasn't
She's
the
leaning
case.
forward on the table.
She's
engaged.
All the body language is.
Yeah.
is
Her
Good
curiosity has.
That's the
peaked.
problem with my voice, isn't it? That you just can't tell if I'm
Yeah.
being genuine or
you
not.
never know.
You don't have resting bitch face. You have resting bitch voice.
It's true.
Okay, so basically what they were setting out to do is investigate whether the type of music that's playing in the background when you're eating has any influence over how you perceive the flavour of food.
Which is mad, because how on earth and why would it?
So the background to this was kind of like came from the whole area of that environmental stimuli can evoke like emotional reactions in you. So in consumerism and all this type of thing, and bear in mind, if you ask me any questions, I will more or less likely not know the answer because this is extremely out of my area of expertise,
No, that's good. We're all learning.
which
now.
is extremely small. Yeah, that's what I was actually quite intrigued
We're
at.
here
So I was
for
like, wow, yeah, I'm learning new things here. And yeah, so just don't ask any questions.
Noted.
So basically what they said was like, they've looked into loads of things on what influences people in the service industry and in when they're like purchasing things to react in certain ways. And they know that so it mentioned one study where they played music and they found that fast tempo music made you eat faster. So like the number of bites per minute. You had-
Bites per minute.
Did you not do that? Like, you know those things that make you, like, because I used to do like 30 chews per bite and stuff like that to be thin.
Right. That's how it works. Damn it.
Well, I did
missed the
eat a lot.
memo.
I ate less.
No,
Like,
but
after a while when you
slowing-
get into it.
Yeah.
There are studies.
No, I
showing,
know that's a legitimate thing. As
I didn't
enjoy
get-
your food.
I didn't
and
get
kind
thin though, to be fair.
of, yeah.
So yeah, they say that environmental, so like in fancy restaurants and things like that, they'll put a lot more effort into this, whereas in other restaurants they may not, and similar to shops. And what they've said that what happens is with the environmental stimuli, they cause these things called approach and avoidance responses. So approach responses are environmental stimuli that make you more likely to spend money, stay in a place for longer, spend more time considering what you're going to buy, all these like kind of positive things for businesses. And then avoidance behaviors are things that make you not want to go back and not want to stay there and not want to spend money, and etc, etc. So music is one that they found can cause these approach avoidance behaviors. And this study wanted to go in specifically to see what types of music would influence how you taste foods. They also then decided to go another level. This is where I get a bit lost. We'll see if you do too. I don't know. Where they wanted to see whether types of music would influence your reaction to what they termed emotional and non-emotional foods.
Emotional foods.
Oh, I get emotional every time I think
Yeah.
about food.
So would you
food
like
is just
it?
an emotional.
That was my thing. So when she told me about the emotional, non-emotional, I was like, every food gives me an emotion. There is
Even if
nothing-
it's celery, I'm still mad.
Yeah.
That's an emotion.
Fair.
Yeah.
I literally
If you
can't
feel nothing
think,
about food, who are you? You're not even human.
where do you get your joy in life from?
Yeah, damn right.
This is like those people that like eat to live.
Yeah, I'll just just give me a pill. I'll just swallow that, and that'll give me all the food or whatever. Have you not heard people who talk about this who are just like, if I
didn't
could just have
to
a
eat.
pill, I
Yeah.
could just have like a little nutrient paste or something.
And that was everything.
I just put it on my gums, and then I'm like, no, that's crazy.
No.
That's crazy talk.
It is.
Where's the joy in those people's lives?
Exactly.
They don't have any.
Damn right. What
Please
about you?
continue.
So if you were to guess, what would you think would be an emotional food and what would be a non-emotional food?
I was hoping to ask you that, so you got him first.
We're all learning here, Dan.
Okay, emotional food, chocolate, anything like high in sugar.
You got
or
it
like,
in one.
Or like, any kind of comfort food, essentially.
Yeah, so chocolate was their emotional food. And what do you think was their non-emotional food?
Celery.
You're on the right line.
It's got to be something like veggie, right?
I
Like,
would have
or
chosen
something
celery.
healthy.
Because no one likes celery.
No.
And anyone who does like celery is lying.
I
wonder-
hate celery.
Is it a nutritious food?
You're right when you're saying it's in the vegetable track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Lettuce.
It's something that people are usually surprised if you say you don't like.
Potatoes.
Oh, a lot of people.
No.
I think a lot of
I
people
think
don't like
potato
it
is
though.
quite emotional.
I have a lot of
personally.
friends that don't like. As an Irish person, I find potatoes particularly emotional. I need to stop doing this.
Living up
No,
to
My
a
sister
stereotype.
always gives out to me so much.
No, it is
She's
funny.
like, Alice, stop culturally appropriating
Yeah,
yourself.
No, it's
hungover
funny.
the
I
day
do
after
just
St.
love
Patrick's
potatoes
Day.
though. It's so great.
Oh, yeah. Was that when we were on?
No,
No,
that was
that was
someone I
Joe's
listened to
episode.
today.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay, I want us to guess this. Can you give us any clues that aren't like really blatant?
Okay, it's a
Peppers.
vegetable.
Yes.
Oh,
It's only because Curie doesn't like them.
Yeah.
And every time she doesn't like
This
them, I
is the
get
thing.
surprised.
Peppers are a very emotional vegetable food for me because I just don't like them. I hate them, and they're
Yeah.
in everything. They're in everything.
See, I already have a problem with this study.
And do you know what?
They've
They're
got their
not-
emotions wrong.
Okay, wait. Hang on. You know, with peppers, right? It's not even a cheap vegetable. Why is it in everything?
I know so many people who hate peppers.
That's really strange. Curie's the only person I know who doesn't like them.
Yeah, I know
I have
more
a
peop-
good few friends who hate them.
Most people that I say I don't like peppers are surprised.
Is it the sweetness of them?
No.
Like, 'cause I think that's why people don't like sweet corn. I think that I think it's too sweet, and that's why I don't like them.
So I used to not like sweet corn because of the shape.
Okay, let's not get into
What?
the food issues though.
Let's save that for the end of the podcast. You can let all your weird little food habits out.
Okay.
So there's a teaser for you, everyone.
Maybe it
to
could be
stay tuned.
its own episode.
It literally could. It would be me sitting here like, oh my gosh, and trying to dissect what happened.
And
in
being
your
like,
life.
why are we friends? Why am I friends with you?
Yeah, pretty much.
All right.
Right, so peppers are non-emotional.
Yeah.
And
Chocolate and peppers. What a weird combination.
Like, it's like chili. What about chilies?
Oh, I love chili chocolate.
Because, yeah. So they could
Oh,
have
that would
combined
be
them into one,
nice.
like, what mixed emotional food.
I reckon chili.
Everyone who eats it just has a breakdown in the study. They're like, I can't
Like,
control
I'm
my
happy, I'm
emotions.
sad, I don't know.
So anyway, right, they had their peppers as their non-emotional food, and chocolate as their emotional food. They also wanted to see what effect whether the music was being performed by a single performer or multiple performers had on how
So
you tasted.
Oh, you mean like
Dumb.
actual live bands or?
No. Just
That would be great.
recordings. Literally recordings.
Okay, so
Right.
what? So whether it's Adele
This
or
is
whether
their-
it's the Beatles? No, or
yeah,
not.
kind of, sort of. Right?
Of
Man.
2 artists to pick from. I don't know. I
and
thought
the
you were going to say
Beatles.
like
Because-
Adele and Little Mix.
Because everyone knows who Adele and the Beatles are.
Okay, fine.
Yeah.
Fair.
Yeah.
Give me a break.
So basically, what they did was they had a slightly complex. No. Okay. So
A slightly not complex.
so complex I had to draw myself a diagram.
Oh shit.
It looks really good
To
though.
figure it all out. So what they did was they recruited 99 people, got them all to
Why
come in.
couldn't they get 100?
I know, it really frustrated
That's
me.
so-
Like even if one
I
of
think-
them did it.
Yeah. No, they can't do that.
No, but like just to make it 100. I'm
Yeah,
not telling
I
you.
know.
Why couldn't they just get that one more
Or
person?
get your mum to
I
do
know.
I don't
Anyway.
feel like that's the biggest issue of the study yet.
No, it's not,
Come
but
on,
it's one of the
Well,
most
the fact that
annoying
there's
things.
only 99 people full stop is a problem, right?
We're not giving them a chance. I want to give them a chance. Come on, sell me on this.
So they got them to come in one at a time, and they sat them in a room with a laptop, approximately 70 centimeters away from the screen at 20 degrees ambient temperature.
20 degrees is quite cold for a room, isn't it?
Room
Whereabouts
temperature
at
is
20?
like 23 or something,
Yeah.
isn't it?
And I also know people, I get very hot very easily, but a lot of people I know are always moaning about being
Too cold.
too cold.
Yeah, our
in-
office
in
is
rooms
currently
when I'm hot.
24 and it's too cold, I have to wear a jumper.
And I feel like that's already an issue because some people are just going to be emotional because of the temperature.
Also, if you're sitting in a room alone with ambient lighting and they're giving you some music and food, I don't think I'd be very pleasant.
Yeah. I have another question about the experiment. Are they playing music through laptop speakers?
No, so they
Thank
were instructed
goodness.
to wear headphones.
Those tinny MacBooks.
That was going to be it for me. I was going to storm out.
So they wore headphones, and they were instructed to keep the headphones on the whole time. They weren't allowed to take them off at all, in case it like cleared out their eardrums or whatever in between all the music.
Okay, that is not.
Yeah, I think that's how it works.
But they gave all these really random details like that, and I was like, "Why are you telling me this?"
We need to maintain wax levels. Science is great, guys. I love science.
So wait,
So it's like guitar, you just take your earphones off and it's just running.
We should add some science into our podcast,
Oh my God,
man.
that is-
It'd be so much better.
Ew.
We'll have to get you on every week just to do like a weird fact or something. Just to give Alice like the basics of a fact and let her make it.
So I'm just trying to highlight all the random information that they give you, and I just don't know why they give it to you. So there's another one coming up, right?
Oh goodness!
don't know.
It's gonna take us a while to get through this.
I don't know if I'm ready.
Let me just.
Oh man!
Yeah, this isn't going to be
Okay.
under an hour.
So I'm gonna stay with the food for the moment, so to stop us getting confused, because there's a lot of places where we get confused.
I'm so sorry. I'm trying not to laugh.
So basically, right, the preparations of the food. So what they did, the chocolate was a Hershey's chocolate, which is really unfortunate.
Was this in America?
It was.
So that's all
It was
they
North
had.
American. That's all
Hershey's
they
is
had.
awful.
Apart
It
from-
tastes like vomit.
Apart from the
It
cookies
does.
and cream
It does.
kisses.
Yes.
The cookies and cream is good.
Cookies
Yeah,
and cream kisses
agree.
is excellent.
They're not,
Yeah.
but the plain Hershey's chocolate tastes like
It's-
cardboard.
it's-
It's the worst chocolate.
This
Yeah.
is
It's
meant
worse
to
than cardboard.
This is meant to evoke good emotion from me.
This is supposed to be the emotional.
But
food.
also, guys, Americans aren't used to having flavour.
no,
This is what I was going to
they're
say.
not.
Are all the participants American?
They
Because
are.
they'll never know.
This was
They'll never
another
know the
detail.
difference.
So they wanted to standardize the exposure of their participants to different types of music. So for that reason, all their participants were North American.
What if they just didn't like Hershey's or chocolate?
Or pep.
I guess they select people who admitted they were fond of Hershey's.
No.
They interrogate
Surely
them
you
before
couldn't
the,
do that because
Unsure.
then you'd be able to like preempt yourself
Yeah.
in the study.
I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't
they
know.
wouldn't have wanted to give too much away.
Americans, if you're ever in England, please pick yourself up a
Cadmer.
please pick yourself up a Dairy Milk or a Galaxy, and that is what
Or
a
Galaxy.
real plain milk chocolate should taste like.
Old boss Henry was telling me recently though that one of them has changed their recipe because they've been taken over by whichever company it is that's American.
Ooh,
and
which
it's
one?
different.
What?
And now it tastes different, but obviously I can't taste the
Oh,
difference.
damn,
but
I
it's
need
like-
to-
Okay, Americans, if you come to England, please grab yourself some Galaxy to experience what real plain chocolate should taste like.
Yeah.
Or go to Belgium or one of those other places that do better chocolate than us. But still.
And this is not going to move the podcast forward, but the
Nothing
okay,
we're saying.
I'm being honest.
Nothing is
I'm being
moving
honest.
forward.
Okay, I'm prefacing. So the Hershey's chocolate that they sell here, is that a different recipe to the stuff that they sell in America?
No,
because
it's the same.
It's going
It's
to
the
be
same.
imported.
No,
That's
but-
why it costs so much.
But fun fact, the Cadbury's that you can get in America is made by Hershey's. It's a farce.
whoa.
It's an absolute farce.
I mean, honestly, I think they could just put any stuff in some packaging and people
Yeah.
would be like, oh yeah.
Okay, yeah, Hershey's chocolate. And then the peppers. So they bought the Hershey's chocolate the day before from the local supermarket.
Fresh.
And it was kept at room temperature until the next day.
No!
As in
Fresh
20,
chocolate.
23
I know,
degrees.
I know, yeah. It
Well,
was
I probably
kept
would-
at room temperature, and then
Oh, that's
before
true.
given to participants, it was broken up into bite-sized pieces, which measured 3.5 by 2 by 0.5 centimeters.
Fascinating.
Whoa, what?
What
Then
they-
wait, do you not want to
sorry,
hear about the
sorry.
bell pepper?
Yes, of
So,
course. Sorry.
The bell peppers were stored, also bought the day before to ensure freshness from the local supermarket. And we're stored in a refrigerator at 4 degrees.
Thank God.
And they were taken out 1 hour prior to evaluation in order to reach room temperature. And then they were sliced into small pieces of 3.5 by 3 by 0.5 centimeters.
Okay.
And were they trying to trick the participants into thinking the pepper was chocolate and the chocolate was pepper?
No, you can't cut pepper into squares. No, Alice is saying that they're like strips of pepper.
Yeah, I thought they were the exact same.
No.
There was a centimetre there,
I
a 3 point something
I
something.
assumed that the chocolate just was broken into the squares it came in, and that's the dimensions for the
Squares
squares.
whence it came.
I believe so.
Okay.
But the corner squares are going to be different thickness from the middle squares.
I think we're thinking about this more than they thought about this.
No, I think they thought about
Do you
it
know what?
more.
This is,
Oh, really?
this is definitely some poor master student had to sit there and measure out all the pieces of pepper and make sure it was the
what
same
if you get
thickness.
wrong? What if you get wrong? What if you...
Well, it fucks the whole experiment up.
You have to go and buy more peppers, but now they're not from the same day anymore. Oh, God. This is
Imagine how
so-
much food waste came from this.
I know.
I hope they composted it.
Anyway.
So then, moving on to the other environmental stimuli, which was the music.
Oh,
so
yeah.
there
Forgot
was all
about
this- There was, yeah. So there's a bit of research that says that even if music from the same genre has a different like tone and tempo, so different songs, say 2 different jazz songs, will evoke different emotions. So to get over this, they wanted to make one song every genre. And this
Bloody hell!
So they got Eminem in the studio, and they're like, "Bro, we know you know every word of the dictionary. Spit some bars for us."
So,
Can you imagine that? Like, just Swimgood doing like a rock song. Swimgood was Dan's old band. Just doing a rock song and then just going into like hip hop, but then just being
Guys, we
like,
need you to do that song, but a bit more hip hop
at the
now.
same tempo the whole way through.
Yeah, that's. I reckon I could
Not
do
yet.
that. If these guys want a musician to do that again for another study, I'm free.
You're gonna do rapping?
Yeah, I'll do it. I wouldn't do the vocals. Someone else can do
Oh,
that.
okay. I'll do the
It
vocals.
sounds fun.
So I don't actually think they had any vocals.
Oh bloody hell!
Because
no,
it wasn't
I'm out.
Eminem. It was Bach.
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 Oh, as in Johann.
Off of
Yeah.
Yes. We.
I thought you
Off
just
of
said Beck
classical
in a
music.
weird
Right.
way.
Off of classical music of the Baroque period.
right. This is what I
Big
had to
fan.
listen to. I had
Big
to
fan.
sit and eat and listen to
But
Bach.
wait. So
Bach.
they did original Bach, which was classical.
Yeah.
Then they did jazz Bach.
Why does that sound like an insult?
Then they did.
Wait.
They also did.
Your band sounds like jazz Bach.
I did rock Bach.
They did rock.
Bach.
They did do rock Bach, and they also did
Rockabach, baby.
Hip hop Bach.
hip-hop rock.
Who did this? Who performed this?
So
These guys were so high.
they-
Oh, wow.
Who performed this? Like they just got like someone in to perform
no,
these,
they
like,
did.
this piece of
They
music.
revived Johann. They brought him back.
It said musical editing was done by a single performer and also by multiple performers.
I still don't know what that means, I'm afraid.
They arranged the traditional music into 4 different genres using digital audio workstations. The GarageBand 11.
The Garage Band.
God, you know what? I was like, you all sound like one of those old people that are like, oh, the Facebook.
They used some internet software to...
I was reading from the paper.
Is that the paper 11?
It says the GarageBand. And the finale.
Oh, the finale. That sounds...
I don't know what that
Version
is.
2011.
Oh, okay.
Alright.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Can we hear the music?
That's pretty cool.
And the song's called Air on the G String.
No, it all makes sense. That's what you were talking about earlier. And I was going to be like, are you putting copyrighted music in your podcast? Because that's...
Oh, but it's well old, so it's not copywritten anymore.
Yeah, no, this surely isn't...
Hashtag no copyright.
Should we play some?
Did they do Sexy Bach?
That was funny. Well done, Dan.
Is this it?
This definitely isn't hip hop Bach, is it?
No, I think this is classical Bach.
Well, I'm going to be
So
doing
it
some
does
late night
say,
feedback.
except for the hip hop Bach, the music pieces arranged by multiple performers were commercially available. So obviously hip hop Bach is still copyright.
Are you kidding me?
I hate
Hip
copyright.
Hop Back was produced by DJ Khaled.
Another one!
Another copyright for you, yeah. God damn it.
So yeah, so they were the music that they were listening to anyway. So they got them to sit 70 centimeters away from their computer with their headphones on in the 20-degree room, and they let them. First of all, they listened to Mozart. Okay.
Can I ask a question about... Was there anything on the screen? Does it not say?
It doesn't say.
Okay.
I'm gonna imagine no.
Okay.
So they sat down and listened to some Mozart. That was the warm-up stimulus
Oh, thank God.
to get them ready, and that was to get rid of something called first order carryover effect, which I'm guessing is something to do with whatever is the first thing you hear influences everything else.
I guess like a palate cleanser for your
exactly.
ears.
Yeah,
Okay.
like sorbet for your
Exactly.
yeah.
But what do you have when you go to Yo Sushi?
The ginger.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Like
Alright.
some pickled ginger for your ears. That sounds horrible. So yeah, a bit of Mozart for the warm-up stimulus. Then they had a little break in which they were given a piece of pepper in a souffle cup.
Oh, wow.
Which
what a
we've-
way to dress up this pepper.
We figured out a souffle cup.
Go on.
A souffle cup is, you know those paper pots that you get McDonald's ketchup in,
Oh.
but you have to pump your own.
Oh,
That's
right.
a
I
souffle
assumed
cup.
it was just like a ramekin.
That's what we thought.
That's what
too.
we thought, but no.
We googled it.
Yeah.
I see.
Oh, fascinating.
And they are really proud of this souffle cup because they mention it every time they mention the pepper.
Look at the effort we went to.
Yeah, we just went to McDonald's, got a load of these.
So then, after they listened to Mozart and have the pepper, they then had to rate how they felt on a visual analog scale, which is basically just a line. So like a
Oh,
line.
like a 1 to 10.
Yeah, kind of thing. So 0 was at one end and 15 was at the other. Don't know why it was 15. So they had one
Normally
of
goes up
these.
to 10, doesn't it?
I know, yeah.
I like
they
it. Gives
chose
you more
15.
options, you know?
So
In case you were feeling really hype.
Yeah. Exactly.
So they did the warm-up stimulus, and then they had the pepper, and then they rated what they felt about the pepper in terms of flavour intensity, pleasantness, texture, and overall impression.
What the
I
fuck?
just
This is brilliant. Just keep going. Just keep going.
I just think I would have gone for a plainer, more like lettuce or cucumber, where it's just water, like it doesn't taste of anything and there's nothing interesting going on. Like, I don't really understand why we've gone for a pepper here.
It's a non-emotional food, Natalie.
Yeah, I know, but surely cucumber and lettuce must do justice.
They're a different kind of non-emotional. They're more plain, aren't they?
Yeah, but isn't that
I'm not
exactly
saying that's
what
good
you
or
want?
bad. I don't know.
You raise a good point. You
What-
really do.
What colour were the peppers?
Dan, when you repeat-
that's
Red.
important.
Red.
Red.
You
Because I was
said
going to say
red.
red are quite flavourful.
So
peppers.
I did say red, but I actually don't think it actually says red.
'Cause if they're green
'Cause
peppers,
that's-
you may as well have just
You
done
do
cucumber.
raise a very good point.
And I hate green
It just
peppers.
says bell pepper. I agree. I would have felt very different emotionally towards a red pepper or a green pepper.
So apparently,
Or
you know,
indeed a yellow pepper.
they don't actually taste any different.
It's just the colour.
Yeah.
Are you kidding?
No, red peppers are so much
No,
sweeter.
they don't. I guarantee you.
Maybe it's the emotional music I'm listening to
guarantee
while I
you-
eat peppers.
I guarantee you, if I blindfold you and get you to taste different colours of peppers, you wouldn't know the difference.
That's
think
what we're
I
doing
would.
next time.
Fine.
I
think I
thought
would.
that all peppers were the
I
same
reckon I could-
pepper, and it was just different ripeness. of
Yeah, it is.
Pepper.
It is.
Is that
Well,
real?
so
Yeah.
maybe they would taste different.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. So I don't
Green
think
is the
they.
least
Doubt.
ripe, so it's not as.
Yeah, so like they
it's sour.
literally. So like in essence they don't. They're the same thing, but because like when you have a banana and it's green, it's different to when it's brown.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I like it when it's spotty.
Oh, no, I
Me
need
too.
it green.
I like a speckle of spots.
Ew.
Like not so green that you can't peel it, but it's still green and peelable. That's the perfect
No,
banana.
I like a few spots have started to come up.
Yeah.
on
Oh
there.
lord.
Yeah. They're sweeter.
Yeah.
They're also a bit fermented.
I'm absolutely dying
Very
here. I need to
Oh,
know more.
Dan doesn't
I need
eat
to know
bananas.
more. I don't
So,
eat bananas either.
After they had the initial pepper in the souffle cup, they then had a 60-second break.
Oh, that doesn't sound very long.
Yeah, and then after the 60-second break, they were presented with either jazz Bach, classical Bach, hip hop Bach, or rock Bach.
So they so they hadn't listened to any of these.
rock, back,
Hold on, hold on, hold on.
Not only that, but they were either presented with a single performer of jazz Bach or a multiple performer.
Hold on. So they haven't actually listened to anything other than the
Multiple Bach.
palate
Other than
cleanser Mozart. Okay.
So they were getting like a baseline.
Yeah.
Did they do this with the chocolate too?
No, they kind of just said they started with the pepper and then just went on from there.
Okay. So now we're listening to Rockbach.
So we're listening to rock Bach
With multiple performers.
with multiple performers.
Please.
And then they just proceeded in that fashion where they listened to the music and then 45 seconds into the music they were handed either the chocolate or the pepper.
So they did all the pepper first and then all the chocolate first?
No,
Or
I think it was
alternated
randomly.
Or... Okay,
yeah, I
okay,
think
okay.
it was random.
Yep.
So, and then they give them each the either the chocolate, and then once the song's over, they wait 60 seconds, and then they do their ratings again of the flavor intensity, pleasantness, texture, and overall impression. Then wait 60 seconds, and they get another song. So maybe this time they had hip hop Bach, and it was single performer.
Yeah, boy.
And they got given some.
That's
some
what I want to
Hershey's.
hear.
And then 45 seconds in, and then they answered the same questions on hunger and, or no, sorry, not hunger. Flavor intensity, pleasantness,
On
texture,
desire.
overall impression, etc., etc. And this went on for however long it would have taken to listen to
All of those bits.
all of
I
those
hope
things.
they were all like 7-minute long versions
Oh,
as
God.
well.
I would be refusing to do I just point blank refuse to do the test.
I think it said somewhere they were 5 minutes.
That's
Each 5
so too long.
minutes.
So that's whatever 5 times 8 is.
40 minutes.
Just
Oh,
do,
that's not
do
that
the
long,
radio
is it?
edit,
40
man.
minutes of just...
40 minutes sitting there to get 8 bits of like 1 cube of pepper. That's long.
I now understand why Eminem
No,
didn't
it
want
was
to be
every
a part
40... No,
of this
every
project.
45 seconds you got food.
Did you get a...
So yeah, it was 45 seconds after the onset of music presentation, either chocolate or bell pepper in a souffle cup
Yeah.
were presented.
Okay, so wait, so the music starts, 45 second goes, you eat, and then the rest of the music plays.
Yeah, it's still
And then-
playing.
and
it's
then
still
at the
playing.
end, and then at the end of that, then you rate.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
During each break, they also got some spring water.
Oh, I was going to ask if you could, because otherwise I feel like it's not right if you're not clearing it.
Yeah, they got Clear Mountain spring water.
Fascinating.
And that was provided for palate cleansing of the actual palate and not the ears.
The ears.
Yeah.
They're big fans of palate cleansers, these guys.
But that had to be done in silence because
Otherwise you wouldn't
because
be
otherwise
clean.
your taste
otherwise
receptors go
you
crazy.
would taint your ears.
So many
Yeah.
emotions.
Yeah, okay.
And participants were instructed to remove their headphones until the entire experiment was completed.
It does kind of
now-
sound like the scariest like concentration camp ever, doesn't it? Ugh.
Okay, so now because I'm
So
now
what did
over
we
time,
learn?
I believe. Wait, we haven't even gotten to the
I
results.
really need to get to a conclusion. Come on.
Oh, I forgot.
So what they found was participants liked food more when listening to jazz in comparison to hip hop.
That would make sense though.
But were they all white?
No, wait, I'll tell you.
They were all white and 45 years old.
Yeah.
So they were all North American. 90 of them were Caucasian, 5 Hispanic, 3 African American, and 1
Oh.
American Indian. So yes, they were all white.
I want to hear what the African Americans thought about this. Because
They love rock pop.
yeah, I imagine they'd feel mildly insulted by the hip hop one. They'd be like, "Are you really doing this with our culture now? You know, this is not cool."
Yeah.
No.
How
So
it, like, Okay.
Yeah.
So they loved the jazz, is what you're telling
They
us.
did, yeah. And that the influence of music on overall impression was present for the emotional food, but not for the non-emotional food.
So listening to the music made them enjoy the chocolate more.
Yeah, but
But
it didn't make them enjoy the pepper more.
Because you're eating a fucking cube of pepper.
Yeah, I was gonna say, like, if you had like a Metallica playing in the background and you got like a Mountain Dew and you drink it, do you feel really fucking hard all of a sudden? Is that kind of what they're trying to get towards? Like,
I don't know what
if
the
cool shit.
I don't know how this relates.
I just
lost
the
me with
idea of
Mountain
like
Dew.
you got cool shit playing and you
Sorry,
you
wait,
have
Metallica are cool.
okay, so not in my opinion, but
So
if you're like
Brockhampton is playing.
if you're like a cool gamer, man, and you're like, oh yeah, I like metal music and I like fizzy drinks and shit,
Right.
like that's what I'm getting at. Is it that kind of almost advertising campaign? You're not following me here, so I'm just gonna drop it.
I might even cut it out of the podcast.
Oh yeah, you should definitely cut. You should cut probably most of this out.
Well, that's it anyway.
I hope you enjoyed
So that's
those 3
the
minutes.
conclusion.
They were the conclusions.
Oh, okay,
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
Well, thanks,
So
Alice.
if you want to enjoy your food more,
listen
listen
to jazz.
But I mean,
specifically jazz Bach.
But it would be interesting to see what each individual person,
Yeah.
because there are only 99 of them, it's not like it's going to take long, what each of them individually did. Obviously, the overall was jazz, but were there some people who did prefer their
I'm
chocolate
sure
when
there
they
were.
listened to
There
rap?
probably would have been, but the way they would do this.
Like, I need a pie chart,
Yeah.
is what I want.
I would have liked a pie chart. There was no pie chart.
but also it kind of makes sense because like when you go to a really fancy restaurant,
It's
they
jazz.
normally do play like smooth jazz in the background.
And there's a man on the piano and stuff.
Yeah.
And there's a reason for that because it makes your emotional food taste better, but not your non-emotional food.
Well,
Yeah.
fuck me, I'm not getting a.
I'm not sure. What are your scientific opinions on this study? Do you think it was
Legit.
legit?
There are so many
It was-
different ways
Yeah.
that this could have been done.
Yeah, and I'm thinking there are so
And
many
also,
variables here.
They just needed a
lot.
word count, which is why they
Yeah.
had all those details.
Yeah.
Also, but this study
Can
was.
you tell that a lot? Like, when you look at studies, sometimes you're like, obviously they're just waffling because they had to get to X amount of words. Or not so much.
Not so much. Well, kind of.
Can I
Most of
just-
the time, it's just they're bad at writing.
Can I read you a sentence?
Of course.
Considering that music elicited emotion is different between jazz and hip hop stimuli, the outcomes seem to result from the difference in the music elicited emotion.
What? That doesn't mean anything.
Yeah.
Like,
You've just said music.
What?
Music and feelings.
And music, it just said the music elicited emotion is different between jazz and hip hop stimuli. So the outcome was related to the music elicited emotion.
Oh
Like,
wow! Literally.
No
Well,
shit,
duh.
Sherlock. Like,
I do kind of. I think it's quite a
Arkansas
cool experiment. It's just so.
I get
ridiculous.
it. That's the thing. You get what they're trying to do.
Yeah.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
Like the actual concept of it makes sense, but it's just so weirdly done.
And there are so many personal variables. Like your taste in music can
Yeah.
have so much difference on how that physiologically
Yeah.
makes you
Yeah.
feel.
And it
you
would have
know?
been interesting if they'd maybe split this into age groups as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Done some dubstep Bach for the kids.
Drum and Bach.
Oh damn, we good.
Oh, that's a title. That's an episode title.
Oh yeah.
Okay, listen. Should we talk about some real science now?
Oh man.
Curie.
I hope this lives up to the hype.
Yeah, this is boring.
It probably is going to be boring compared to that.
Oh, you've got to make it fun, Curie.
I've got
You've
real
gotta
science.
Sell it to us.
With my paper, I fulfilled the other sort of requirements that you wanted. Mine is about
Video games.
video games, and MS.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, that's so interesting.
Yeah.
I thought that, I didn't know that was the case. I
Yeah.
was messing.
So the title of my paper is "A Telerehabilitation Program by Virtual Reality Video Games Improves Balance and Postural Control in Multiple Sclerosis Patients."
Sorry, I was too busy laughing at you saying that long word.
Telerehabilitation.
Yeah, because I still don't think you can say it.
Telerehabilitation.
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 Third time lucky.
Okay.
Yeah, you got it.
Right. Anyway, so before we start, I'm going to give you a little bit of background of what multiple sclerosis
I was
actually
going to
is.
ask that. Thank you.
So, multiple sclerosis is a neurological disorder. It's fairly common-ish from the realm of neurological disorders, and it affects the brain and the spinal cord. So it's a demyelinating disease. So what that means is your nerves or your neurons, they have these like coverings on them in little nodes across it. Actually, I shouldn't say the word node because that's going to come in little clumps across the actual axon, so the long bit where the message sort of flows through. It's got coverings, and those are called it's covered by a thing called myelin. And what that myelin does is it allows the message through the neuron to travel faster, because instead of going through all the way through, it can jump between each sort of lump of myelin to get to the other end, so it's a lot faster. What happens in MS is that your immune system mistakes it for a foreign body and starts attacking that myelin. So then when it starts doing that, it sort of damages the nerve, and it leaves scars and lesions known as plaques. So then that will affect how your neurons and nerves are communicating with each other.
So everything just takes longer.
Not
necessarily.
Well, that's one of them. So like, it will take longer. It maybe won't go through right. The message won't be delivered correctly.
Right.
And is this like, this affects like your physical movement?
Yeah.
So those are the main symptoms.
Yeah.
So symptoms differ between people because it depends on which nerves are affected as well. But one of the most frequent symptoms are people who have balance and postural control disorders. Balance being, balance, and postural control meaning you can't hold your posture when doing something or maintaining your posture.
Can I just, for anyone who's wondering why I requested this, so my mum has MS, which is why. Alright, so rather than just being a really random thing, to say like, so I want to hear about this weird disease. Tell me more.
Yeah, although your mum's isn't that severe yet, is it?
No.
So these balance and postural control problems, they're present in about 20% of MS patients, which is quite a big chunk. And in about 80% of them, this is now a chronic problem. Throughout the whole disorder, they will have these balance and postural control problems. And also, most patients will say that these two problems are one of their leading causes of their disability status and severely impact their quality of life the most out of all their symptoms.
Yeah.
So there's all these rehabilitation programs that are happening, and it's the most popular therapy at the moment to sort of reduce the disadvantages or the disability effects that they get from these issues. But many of these patients they're obviously going to be treated on an outpatient basis because they don't need to be in hospital for this to happen. But there are very limited resources and time constraints on whether this can be done effectively. Also, patients will often have difficulty with mobility, obviously, and depending on geographical location, it can be really difficult for them to get to the hospital in the first place to have this treatment. Also, there are lots of material and costs and staffing costs from the hospitals to run these therapy sessions.
Yeah.
So there's all this stuff going on now to look at e-health. And one of the e-health options that these guys are looking at is tele-rehabilitation. So this is a delivery of the rehabilitation services through electronic systems using sort of information and communications.
Yes.
Yeah. So
email me that sweet rehab.
So they're trying to take this rehab away from hospitals now and into the patient's home to make it easier for them to have access to it. And this study was looking at the improvements in this balance and postural control problems with virtual reality.
I was just about to be like, oh my god, is it VR?
Yeah. Are they getting a sweet HTC Vive in their ends?
And playing Resident Evil.
And here's a £5,000 computer. Have some fun, lads.
Oh, can we get this?
Yeah.
Get my mum on this.
I'm gonna. I don't think they'd get ethical approval to get their MS patients to play Resident Evil. Me and Natalie once played Resident Evil one evening, and we were both screaming.
I don't think it was even the evening. It was
love
It was
Resident
full
Evil.
on daylight.
Resident Evil
And we were playing. We were playing with on the Wii.
on the way.
Was it? Was it on the Wii?
Yeah, it was at your house, and you had a Wii.
Oh, it was really scary.
And we were trying to shoot,
Which
and we
one?
couldn't.
4.
No, it was. I don't know.
It was an
Whatever
old
one
one.
was
Oh, is
the
it
Wii.
one of the like shooty ones where you just go around?
No. It was legit. Or
It was
maybe.
back in the day when Weaves were still being used.
Yeah.
So quite a long time ago.
Yeah.
But I don't know which one.
Yeah.
I didn't like it.
I
That's
think
fine.
it was just a point and shoot one.
Yeah, because I know
There
there
was
were
no
those
story.
and there was 4.
Yeah.
But
Do people have Wii's anymore?
We have
it's
one,
the
but we
Switch
don't
now.
use it.
The Switch?
yeah, the Switch is the new
Nintendo
hot
Switch.
God, I'm very out of the loop, aren't I?
It's great, the Switch.
Oh.
We'll bring it in next time if you'll have us back. We'll
We'll
bring
do
in
a
the.
little-
Oh, we can
we'll
both
do a
bring in
little
our
Switch-
Switches and then we can all play.
Switch thing. It'd be
We
great.
need 4 of us can.
This wouldn't make a very good podcast.
We can all let's all bring in a
Shit.
Switch and then we can all play.
This would be a terrible podcast.
And then in the
We
breaks,
couldn't do it on the podcast.
we can have
Oh, we could live stream it.
peppers and
Yeah.
Hershey's
Yeah, in your souffle cups.
in souffle cups while we listen to Bach.
That'd be great. We could get the. Oh yeah. What was it called again? The song. The
Air on the G string.
It sounds like something like
that.
Usher or someone in like the early 2000s.
It's definitely like an R. Kelly song. Right, okay. So they recruited 50 patients with MS, and one of the main requirements was that they had to have been confirmed to have MS for at least 2 years.
All right, I thought you
yeah,
they had to have MS.
Yeah.
Like,
Otherwise, like we'd be out the front door being like, "Come on, guys! I swear, I'm getting it."
a PSVR. Yeah, I've got MS today.
Okay, so onto the intervention. It was a 10-week intervention. So
It's an intervention.
like
Yeah, it's a
something
weird
you
word to
change.
use,
It's
isn't
something
it?
you're keeping everything else constant, and you're changing the intervention.
what she said.
All
Or
right.
you're trying as hard as possible to keep everything else constant.
Okay.
So it was 10 weeks, and the control group, they would just have your regular physio that you normally would get at the hospital.
Boring.
They would do this twice a week for a total of
Nerds.
40 minutes for a total of 40 minutes a week. It's not fair to call MS patients nerds.
They're not nerds because they have MS. They're nerds because they didn't get to call the cool study.
Yeah, man.
I'm sure they let them have a go with the thing after.
You'd hope.
Yeah. So what this physio would do is sort of low weight strength exercises, proprioception exercises. So proprioception is the awareness of the position of your body.
Yes. Continue.
So like spatial awareness, like when you're reversing the car and things.
Or
No,
like,
for yourself.
Yeah, I
for
don't-
yourself.
Yeah.
like so like how you're standing or where
exactly.
your arms
Or
are.
you could put your hand up and you know your hand is in the air,
Right.
and you know how much effort it is taking to put your hand up in the air.
So you're literally just moving body parts.
Yeah, but it's helping you be aware that you're doing it. So one of a proprioception exercise that actually I had to do when I hurt my ankle was I had to stand on one leg, and by that it's helping you sort of gauge where your body is and how you should be standing to be able to balance on the leg.
So
to
did you stand on your good ankle or your bad?
both? So it would strengthen them and make them more equal.
Right.
And then other stuff is gait facilitation exercises. That's helping with their way of walking.
Gate, like just going in and out the front gate.
Oh yeah, I thought they were walking through a gate. Yep.
No,
like like undoing a baby gate, like you know on the end of the stairs.
GAIT, not
Yeah.
GATE.
Okay, what is that?
GAIT is like your
It's
your
way of
walk,
walking.
isn't it?
Yeah,
It's
your
your-
walk.
Oh.
Yeah.
And your like posture, kind of.
It's mostly walk.
Oh.
Walk and like the movement
Style
of
of
your
walk
legs.
is
Yeah.
perhaps the best descriptor.
And also stretching. So that was the normal physio that you would get. And then the experiment group, there was another 25 of them in the experiment group, and they would have 40 sessions 4 times a week for about maximum of 20 minutes. And this was done on their TV at home. And it was done through an Xbox 360 with the Microsoft Kinect.
Oh man, they had to ruin it with Connect, didn't they?
Like I was almost lost.
I thought we were in VR
Xbox, I was
territory.
lost, and then Connect. I was like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm at.
So we're in AR territory here, augmented reality.
Yeah, so it's
Right.
not quite the
headset.
Yeah.
It's still cool. I'm willing to give it a chance.
Yeah. So they went through all these battery of games, and they got these professionals to come in and
You got Kobe Bryant to come to the house.
and just judge whether they think these games are good ways of rehabbing and like
Right.
maybe.
So this is like, you know how you had those games on the
Yeah.
Wii. Like I know this is Xbox.
Yeah.
I've just heard
Yeah.
that, but I'm going to talk about Nintendo. So is this like, you know, on the Wii you had those like Wii Tennis and stuff like that, like those kinds of
It's
games.
Yeah.
sort of similar,
So
yeah.
actually,
But obviously you're not holding a controller because
one of the games that they did use is Connect Sport.
Okay.
So on that one they had bowling, boxing, track and field, table tennis, soccer, and beach volleyball.
Lovely.
They also used a game called Joyride, which is a racing game, and then a game called Adventures, which I don't know.
I've played 2 of those.
Which ones?
Which ones?
The first one, the sports one,
Yeah.
and the adventures one. And
What?
they're
What's
both-
Adventures?
Adventures is just like so the one I remember that sticks out in my mind is like a River Rapids one, and you have to like
Dodge the rapids. And stuff.
yeah, exactly, control your boat. But it's all there's like one where you have to like do window wiping and like some really
So
Do you-
fun.
Some
do you
really
sing
silly
that,
stuff.
That George Formby song, like when I'm cleaning windows at the same time. Do you know that song?
I don't know.
Someone did it on Stars in Their Eyes once, and that's the only way.
But yeah,
It
that
stuck with me.
the sports one is absolutely knackering. Like
The Wii Sports is really
Yeah.
tiring.
yeah, But
I remember the first time I played Wii tennis, my arm was legit sore the next day.
yeah,
You
you
have
can
to do
cheat
that.
Wii tennis, so you can
No,
just
with
go
the
like
quick
that.
serve. No,
It
I
goes
always used
really
to like
fast.
smash the serve, and Curie would be like, "Can you stop doing that?" Like, no.
No, because I'm an athlete.
Exactly.
But yeah, just like basically for anyone who hasn't played, it's literally a camera on like in front of your TV. That's what Kinect is, and
Yeah.
it reads your body movements, doesn't it? So yeah, it's crazy stuff.
Yeah.
That's cool.
So in the results, so in the end they had 47 participants.
What happened to the other three?
I can't remember.
No.
He died of sport-induced.
Oh, 2 dropped
yeah,
out.
no, I realised that after saying.
Sorry.
They all dropped out because they would have a relapse of something to do
Oh,
with their
right.
condition.
Right.
So they dropped out, but they had 47 left at the end of it. 2 of them were from the control group and 1 was from the experimental group.
Okay.
So the main
So
thing...
it doesn't matter so much.
No, not really.
Yeah.
The groups are still pretty equal.
Yeah.
The one thing they found was that regardless of which program they were on, all the patients had improvements in their balance and their postural control.
Oh, congrats, study. Well
Which
Which one was
done.
better?
So, we'll get into that. So, the experimental group, they had significant improvements in their overall balance compared to the control group. They also had, so they sort of checked where their sensory input was coming from, so whether they were doing everything visually or through their vestibular, which I had to Google what vestibular means, and that means your inner ear. So whether your sense of balance was getting better
Right.
because you're visually getting better, or if it's your inner ear. And in the experimental group, it was both of those things. So, and one of the reasons that they think this might be happening is because when you're training with VR, one, you have multiple visual inputs across different fields and levels, and you're looking at different things all over the screen. Whereas with physio, you'll generally be looking at a fixed position.
Yeah.
And the other thing is that when you're responding to virtual reality things, you tend to move your head around in response to what you're looking at, whether it's subconsciously or consciously. And so that might be why they had these better improvements in their inner ear compared to the other group. They then looked at this score called CES. So what this score is, it was from a test which they used that could measure how good they are with their postural control. And their CES score, if it measured their overall performance in this test. If it was 100%, that means they were balanced with full control. If it's a 0% score, that means they fell.
I'm sorry, guys. It's just funny when you say it like
yeah,
that.
yes, it was the
People falling over is funny.
it was
I'm not going to apologise for it.
it was the delivery.
Yeah.
I
It's
found
okay.
amusing.
To be fair, if I saw
And I
someone-
think it was just like imagining someone standing at 100% and then just falling.
Like face plant.
Yeah.
Yeah, the comedy.
To be
for-
fair,
Yeah.
if I see anyone fall, I would probably laugh.
Yeah.
I don't love, like, you're the kind of people who like You've Been Framed, right?
I really can't control it.
I hate You've Been Framed.
I,
Like, it's not funny.
yeah,
It's not
I
funny.
would not accept that stereotype. I don't really like you being friends.
Do you not?
It's not that funny.
Oh, okay.
It's also, people obviously play up to the camera because
Oh,
they're like,
it's
oh, I want
so
to get that
annoying.
250
But people
quid.
must get legitimately injured on it.
Oh yeah.
Oh,
some of
yeah,
the things
for
I've
sure.
seen are horrendous.
They
Yeah.
make me cringe, some of them.
And all you've got is
Yeah.
£250.
And-
Like, not worth it. Was
Yeah,
it?
I remember last time I watched it just being like, none of this is particularly funny. It's just kind of cruel to laugh at some
Yeah.
of the stuff that's happening. It's not that comedy sort of.
I like the ones
injury.
where they have children, though. That's
And
quite
like
funny.
they'll put their face in a cake or something.
Or I meant like they'll hit their dad in the balls with a baseball bat.
Oh yeah, it's good to see adults getting beaten up by kids.
Yeah.
It's
that's
always good.
always good.
They agreed.
Yeah, so they looked at the CES score, and at baseline, the average was 70%.
Before they did the thing.
Before they did anything,
Okay.
their average was 70%, so they weren't fully controlled, but they weren't awful.
Yeah.
And by the end of it, only in the experimental group did they have people that went over the 70% baseline.
Oh wow.
So why do they think that might be happening? They think one of the reasons why is because with the physio, so both groups had the same amount of time for treatment, but physio was only doing it twice a week, whereas the experimental group were doing it 4 times a week, so it's distributed.
Yeah.
So they think that might be one of the reasons. Also, with the virtual reality, you're doing functional tasks. And also you're able to, what they would do is as the patients were getting better, they actually increase the difficulty of the game.
Right.
So it uses this whole
It's
concept.
goal driven rather than you're just trying to move your arm in place. Or,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So they use this phrase where they're saying what they're doing is to repeat without repeating.
Yeah.
Right.
That's interesting. Is there any reason why the physio was less frequent?
I think that's just how they do it in the hospitals.
Fair.
That was actually one of the things I wondered as well, why they
Yeah.
did do it differently.
Yeah.
I'm not sure.
Or why they didn't just do the home thing twice a week.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Periods.
Also, these people got a free Xbox.
Yeah, that's pretty cool. Did they get to keep it after?
Yeah, that's it.
I
Like,
assume
did they,
so.
but like, you would have had it in your house the whole time because they're not going to take it away every other day.
And that's the thing. If it's helping you get better at your balance
Yeah,
and
so
stuff,
how
like
did they
that's
make
actually
them
quite a
not
good thing.
play it? Like, because you could be doing your
In
Connect
between.
activities. Yeah,
Maybe they take away,
the
game.
Connect or the game.
or maybe they
You
take
get
away
a
the
big
Connect.
mean man to come in the house and take all the games away.
Because Connect is tiny, right? So you could just
I mean,
take
it's
that
just
away.
the camera, right?
Yeah, it's
And the
like a
sensors.
bar sort of
Yeah.
Like the Wii.
thin bar. Yeah, it's a bit
Did the Connect
similar.
drive the Wii out of business?
No.
No.
The
No
Connect
one bought a Connect.
very
Okay.
much failed.
Oh, okay. So yeah, maybe someone did just come and take the Connect away.
Like, I guess would there have been someone administering the study every
So
time?
they were being watched by a physio.
By the government through the Connect. I figured it out.
It's all
That's
a
why they want to
conspiracy.
connect in houses.
They would have, over video conferencing, they would have someone making sure they're okay and
Yeah.
doing everything properly.
Interesting.
That is really cool, though.
Yeah, it's a really it's positive,
It's
encouraging.
uplifting.
Yeah, it's nice. And also, this paper was 5 years ago, so for all we know, this could be something that is being used now.
Yeah. I had another question
I actually didn't look it up, but
like
yeah.
the average person, you had that 0 to 100%
Yeah.
score for what was it for again? The
Postural control.
postural control.
Yeah.
Would the average person be 100% naturally?
I'd
or
assume
is
it'd be
that-
very close to 100.
Right. Okay.
I don't think I'd be very close to
I don't
it.
think
Because I know
I'd
people
fall
who don't
over
have
it.
MS,
Quite a lot.
probably myself included.
Who just falls
who
over.
don't. Yeah.
Yeah, no, me neither. I suppose if you're if you do lots of yoga, you're probably at the 100.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas
Oh, yeah.
maybe an average person is probably between 80 to 90.
All right. Cool.
Yeah. So just a few.
Tidbits.
Closing moments.
Yeah.
I'm so excited by this. I know.
Which episode did you prefer being on? This one or the
Like,
last one?
remember
both
the
these
last one.
studies have been really good.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks, guys.
Yay, this is
Um,
nice.
I think I remember these ones as well because the ridiculousness of Bach, and also it's just kind of more related to stuff that I'm into. I'm
Yeah.
trying to remember what the
The
first one was.
like your one was about cancer. I think it was
No, it
smoking.
was
smoking.
ultra-processed foods.
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, I don't
No, wasn't it? No, wasn't it about causing cancer? Wasn't
No,
the ultra processed
yeah,
foods
yeah.
causing
Yeah.
cancer?
And mine was about the cells that can be turned into anything, and they turn them into
Yeah.
Alzheimer's.
So both of those were
byproducts.
interesting, but these because they're more tailored to
Yeah.
our interests. And thank you for asking.
You're welcome. One more thing.
Yes.
So
One
with this
more
with
thing.
this with this test where they got that CES score from,
Yes.
it's not just about being off balance where they measured that. It's also about your recovery time. So once you're pushed off balance, how quickly you recover.
Oh.
And they saw that there was a significant decrease in response time to unexpected disruptions in the experimental group, but not in the control group.
Oh.
And they think that is because virtual reality games will actually train reflex responses, and it's a dynamic environment, whereas a physio is just someone telling you to move things and stretch certain things.
I can't imagine people just being pushed over and be like, "Get up!" How long
You little worm.
It would be good though, right? If
long
they're
can
doing
you
the
take
physio, and
it
they
out?
probably just like prod them slightly.
Yeah.
But,
You get fully physio who just really hates one of the.
So the main thing from that is that the risk of falling is significantly improved
Why was that there?
because
Just
my
for the
computer's
fan.
getting really hot.
I thought it like switched it off.
No.
Okay. Oh gosh.
That the risk of falling is significantly improved in the experimental group than in the control
Yeah.
group. But there are some limitations.
What did you just say?
The risk of falling
Falling
is
significantly
improved in the experimental group than
So
the
what does
As
that
in
mean?
it's lessened.
So because they
So
have
you're less likely to fall.
yeah.
Okay,
Yeah. But there are some limitations. So
that was charming.
one, we don't know if it can treat other symptoms yet from this paper. Well, this was
Right.
5 years ago. So 5 years ago, we didn't know if this could treat other symptoms. Is it actually cost effective?
Right.
Are you getting
To
the
buy
ret-
everyone an Xbox.
But if you
Probably getting well cheap now.
Yeah, you
Go down
Xbox
CEX.
360. You definitely could.
Yeah.
And they could just all buy second-hand ones. They don't need like brand new ones.
Yeah, absolutely. Connect would be hard to get though. Don't make them anymore.
Aslan used to have a
Although,
Connect. Have you
kind
had
of-
Aslan on?
You could just use a Wii.
Kind of a side note, like Xbox have been doing like recently a lot of sort of accessibility stuff, like introducing new controls for people with disabilities, which I think is a really cool thing. That
That's cool.
that
It's a shame no one has an Xbox
games-
though, isn't it?
well, yeah, but it's
Dan
in
has
terms
an
of like.
Xbox.
Well, I haven't as well, but in terms of like science, it's
You don't
actually
play
a
it.
really cool thing that
Yeah.
Yeah.
they're investing money in
Yeah.
something that I don't think is going to make a significant financial return for them,
No.
but just makes games in general more
Yeah.
accessible to all people.
Mhm.
And yeah, I thought that was
I mean,
cool.
they obviously have the money to be doing it.
Yeah, Microsoft, pretty
Big in the game.
big
Yeah.
company these days.
Although not the richest man anymore.
Oh really?
Jeff
Bezos.
Yeah, him. He is.
The Amazon guy.
Yeah, he's the
He
richest man in the
became
world.
didn't he become like the there's what
I
was
don't
it?
know who these men are.
The guy who founded Amazon.
I swear at some point
He's
he was
still
worth
alive.
more than the
He's
entire
richer than Bill
music
Gates.
industry.
Isn't Kylie Jenner richer than them all though?
No, she's only a billionaire.
She's not even a billionaire.
Oh,
Yeah,
she's
she
not
had
even-
like
She's just shy
999
of being a
million,
billionaire.
and
there's
someone
alre-
started a campaign to.
Yeah, it was a comedian who started a campaign, but there's already another. I don't know if you guys have seen this. There's already another makeup, a woman who started a makeup brand who's already a billionaire.
Can I just
Who-
say,
ahead
right?
of
Everyone,
whichever
this
Jenner it
whole
is.
Kylie Jenner is a self-made billionaire thing. It's such fucking
Oh, it's
bullshit.
ludicrous.
They read, there was, whatever I was listening to, I don't know if it was on Radio 1, and they read the definition of self-made, and it was categorically not whichever Jenner this is.
If you're born into ridiculous wealth, how can you then be called as? And that wealth helps you to generate the revenues you're
I
making.
saw a
It's-
tweet that was
it's
like,
ridiculous.
Kylie Jenner's now a self-made billionaire because her sister sucked dick. My sister better step up her game.
Yes, yes,
told you
I
on
love
that?
it. No. Oh man.
Right, okay, let me quickly go through the limitations of the study.
Sorry,
So
yeah.
I've done a few. One, there's no follow-up. They didn't follow up any of these patients, so they don't know if actually these improvements stayed with them.
They might all have just had to sit down for 3 years afterwards.
They might have, yeah. The research wasn't blinded, so the main researcher who was carrying it out knew exactly who was doing what intervention, when he was analysing them, he knew who was in what group, which can maybe put some bias into his analysis. And there was no power calculation, which means they didn't work out how many people they actually needed to find a significant
reliable
result.
like,
Exactly.
Yeah.
How do you work that out?
It's like you use existing data with findings and like do all
Okay.
these clever maths.
Yeah.
You do it with science.
Constant.
That's
You do the
literally-
science.
You
do
do
it
the
with
science
math
and it
is what
works.
Curie's
Yeah.
actually just told
Maths is a science.
exactly. You do it with the math division of science. That's how it works.
Who
Yes.
invited you?
So yeah, that's my
I don't know.
paper.
That was really nice. Thank you, Curie.
You're welcome.
Cool.
Not quite the.
No, but I think it's good. I think how like the balance. I think if
Yeah,
we
I
had
think
an
it was-
hour of
yeah.
papers, of 2 papers like that, we
This
could.
podcast would have to be 2 episodes.
And we wouldn't have
I'd
hacked it.
legitimately be on the floor crying. In a good way.
Thanks so
a
much
good
for
kind
having
of
us back,
emotion.
though. We really appreciate.
Well, so final thoughts, rounding opinions.
I've enjoyed my time here thoroughly.
Yeah, I love science, guys. I love it. It's great when you hit me with those studies, give me all this new information. 10
I
out
think
of
that's
10.
important as well with science. Like, is it you're so much more engaged and interested when it's about things that you're interested in.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
So true.
Yeah.
So I hope every single one of your subscribers likes Rock Bach and also video games that no one has ever played because Connect.
Maybe this is Xbox's way of trying to get the connector out there.
It's
To
back.
be fair, I
The
am
Kinect
wondering if
revival.
Bill Gates was sniffing around somewhere here, just like, how can
There was
I?
a few last
Yeah,
ditch
but Bill
attempts.
Gates is such a philanthropist.
Yeah. He's not involved in Microsoft at all anymore, is he? He's just
there being
he's
good
handed
with
it
his
off
money.
to someone else. But yeah,
They were saying that the only reason why Bill Gates isn't the richest man in the world is because he's giving so much of it away.
That's nice.
Which
That is
I
really
have a lot of
nice.
time for. Yeah, cool.
Well, if you want to find us outside of this podcast, we do a fantasy football podcast. It's called The Danalysis. Sounds like it's named after Dan, but Dan is actually Dan and Natalie.
Yeah.
See,
There.
it was Dan and Natalie, but we call Dan because he's a dick. We can say that because he'll never listen to this, so you can leave it in.
Okay.
We just did, so it's about fantasy football, fantasy Premier League. We just did a special introductory episode For anyone who's never played fantasy football before.
I need to listen to that one.
Oh, I should listen to that too.
Yeah.
It's there if you can go on thedenalysis.com. We'll take you to...
Because I really want to get
Also-
involved, but I don't understand it. So I'm
Yeah,
just-
well, we can probably explain it quicker to you just here. But if you would like to support us and go and have a listen to our podcast, yeah, you can find it at thedenalysis.com. You can listen to our podcast there.
Cool. Well, thank you for coming back, guys.
Thank you so much for having
It was
us.
lovely to have you back.
Delighted you enjoyed yourselves.
Yes, it's been a pleasure. It's been
This
so
is
much
going to
fun.
be a nightmare to edit, by the way.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's not that long though.
It's not long. That's the thing. That's the only good thing about it. It's really not. So you can find us on Twitter and Instagram at
Laid Out
Layout
Podcast.
Podcast. Shout out to Britpod Scene for letting us into their little gang. Thank you very much. That's very cool.
Woo!
You can also find the... Oh, this is awful.
This is my part.
Sorry.
You're not giving me a chance.
I'm sorry. Go on then.
You can read our beautiful, delightful, gorgeous blog written by Salin Tamelza on layloutpodcast.wordpress.com.
If you want to email us about anything you want, please, we want some more fan mail.
We haven't gotten any since that. No,
Since
let's
Caroline
cut that out.
from Texas.
No, we don't want to. No.
Oh no,
we
we've
don't
had
wanna pity.
loads of fan
We don't need
mail.
to
See, this is it every week. I'm like, oh, we haven't even checked the email. No one will have emailed us, so it's okay. And every week Dan's like, no, don't say that. And it's like, it's too bad. I've already said it. And everyone knows that no one emails us.
You can email us on layoutpodcast@gmail.com. Whatever your platform you're listening to us to, please rate us 5 stars. And we'll see you next time. Yes.
Co-fresh.
Oh.
Are you
Co-fresh.
trying to get sponsors?
Oh, Co-fresh.
Still,
Wait,
like,
wait.
every episode they're trying to get
Guys.
We sent you a clip.
No, that Twitter competition. What happened with that?
Guys, you just
Have
need
you
to add
announced?
them.
Because the deadline.
We have,
We have.
and they've replied.
They know who we are.
Oh, really?
They wanted
They
to
even.
hear.
Yeah, they
If
asked
they
us
listen
to
to
send.
the podcast.
Well, they asked us to send them an episode, and I sent them our intro because we talk about them.
Tell them to email in, and if they don't,
You
within
tell-
a week,
Co-fresh, email
Co-fresh,
us.
who are Co-fresh? What do they do? Sell them.
Like
Indian,
snacks.
Indian
Bombay mix.
snacks.
Because you could get a new customer for Co-fresh
We have
here,
some,
and if that
um,
happens, they might...
We have
They-
some co-fresh vegetable samosas in our freezer,
Oh,
actually.
yum.
Well-
They do Indian stuff. Like
Okay.
like Bombay mix and Balti mix. And my favourite is the chili and lemon grills.
Girls.
So Co-fresh, I'm talking to you. This is Dan from the Denalysis Fantasy Football Podcast here. I'm telling you, you need to sponsor these guys
I can't believe
because they're really passionate about your brand, and they're shilling you all the time out here. They're saying how great you are. They're saying, telling me about all the great food you do. You need to sponsor them.
What's happened with the Twitter competition? Has it finished? Okay, your Twitter competition finished, but they were going to give out free like bundles of snacks to winners.
And you haven't won.
Well, they haven't announced the winners.
You see, the thing is, from knowing someone who runs these kinds of social media competitions, you just give them to your mates.
Well, this is why we need to become mates with Co-fresh.
Like, you'll have a few winners, and then the rest of them you just let your mates win them.
Co-fresh, we're friends.
And it probably isn't. Co-fresh probably have people doing their social media. Like, it's probably an agency who run their social media.
You're random strangers. Just give us some snacks, please.
That's the attitude.
Please. Okay, goodbye.
Bye.
Bye. Was I allowed to say
Are
bye?
you not going to say bye?
Oh, I was overwhelmed by all of your... Okay, can we just do it again? I don't want to be weird. And
No, just say bye.
And
Bye!
Whenever you're ready, mate.
Professional scientists here.
Okay, so anyway, they had similar ones.
Da-da-da-da-ding.
Oh, we got that.
Da-da-da-da-ding. So, Jamal's a fact.